Shelley Barry and poet Toni Stuart. Now they share their personal experiences of moving through each other's worlds and open a discussion around the realities of access for people living with disabilities. Now to tell us more about From My View, we're joined from our Seaport studios by Artscape Executive Director Marlene Louw. Marlene, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Hi, thank you very much, and it's such a beautiful day in Cape Town.
I believe it is. What is the exhibition titled From My View about?
We're very privileged to have these acclaimed artists, Shelley Barry, who is an acclaimed filmmaker, and Toni Stuart is a poet. And what they have done is to look at the lives of, going into the lives of Shelley, who is a wheelchair-bound disabled person, and Toni in particular, looking at how do we emerge and how is the lives of these two women. What is very particular, especially when we not celebrate but looking at and monitoring in the world, what is the lives of persons with disabilities? What is the challenges that we're facing? And coming home to South Africa in particular, we don't want to say persons with disability, this is only your challenge. It needs to look at what is the broader view of society and what has changed for persons with disability. It's extremely important that we need to look at all the policies that we have as South Africans and Africa, but how do we implement these particular policies? Shelley in particular also in the film look at the accessibility but also about jobs. Are persons with disabilities really in jobs? How do we look at that? And in particular also education, the access of rural young women and rural young boys. Are they currently in an institution about education? Because it's important that we need to look at how do we overthrow our challenges that we do have. It's about education, and how do we look at that? So it is a broad spectrum of poetry about the acclaimed poet of Toni Stuart, but also to look at Shelley's. Shelley looks at documentaries and the lives of persons with disabilities, but she also looks at her lives. But it's also about the awareness. And why do we have it in the theatre? People do come to see a production, but then it's in your face, because disability needs to be mainstream. Disability needs to be showcased. Disability needs to say we are here and we are stay. And this is a societal challenge that we need to look at.
Now there's also Nenio Mbazima's role in the exhibition. Speak to us about Nenio's role.
Nino, it's very important that he wrote a book, Strong Winds, and it's also about his life. He's also a filmmaker. But in his book, he speaks about not finding a job, but also about we're happy. I'm also a person with a disability. We love life. Just give us the tools, just give us a job in order to make us dignified, in order to say we have a purpose in life, and we do have a purpose in life. It is just that we want to show the world out there. If you give us an opportunity, we can show out to the world that we can give you 150%. And Nino's book is about that, the challenges that he had about a very educated young man, but he couldn't find a job.
And what are you trying to say with this exhibition? What are you trying to say to the public that wants to come and see the exhibition?
For the public, it's about, we all have challenges, but it's about how do we celebrate it. And for the government, we want to say, use us in a particular way that don't speak about us. Come and speak to us to say these are the implementation that we need to do. We can't just write policies. We need to implement the policies. We can't just say that we do have a wonderful ministry, but how do we unpack the disabilities that we do have and not group disabilities together and say, if you're deaf, if you're disabled, physical disabled, if you're cerebral palsy, if you're blind, you're going to have the same challenges. We also want to say with the exhibition is that for the workplace is that government give the work employer incentive. If you employ a person who is blind, give the employer incentive to be able to have the tools for that person ready to be a full-fledged employee. So we're talking about cutting edge interventions that we're talking about.
Okay. Marlene, thank you so much for talking to us. Always a pleasure having you on the program. Of course, she's the Artscape Executive Director, talking to us about a month-long multimedia exhibition titled From My View, which opens at the Artscape's Marble Foyer on Tuesday and runs until the 5th of January next year. Let's take a night break. Stay with us.